hear it hitting the windows here in a minute.
Okay, stream on YouTube and recording. Okay, I have 6 o'clock. Call to order the regular meeting of the Pleasant View City Council this July 28th, 2020, 6 p.m. Welcome everybody. Welcome to those who are viewing us on YouTube. If you are, hopefully you're out having fun on this summer day. But if you are viewing us, welcome. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and an opening expression of a reading of thought by myself. Please join in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our Father in heaven, we're grateful to be together as a city council staff this summer day. We pray that thy spirit will be with us. We pray that we will make those decisions that are wise, that be of the best and greatest benefit for those whom we've been elected to serve. Father, we ask a blessing upon our citizens, especially in these trying times of unrest and pandemic, that they might be watched over, protected, help them to make those good decisions that will keep them safe from both the pandemic and the unrest. Father, we're grateful for our employees. This time we ask a special blessing upon our law enforcement. Such troubling times we have right now. Pray that they might know of our support, the support of the citizens. Keep them from harm or accident. Again, Father, we're grateful for the blessings that we enjoy and grateful for this responsibility that has been given to us to guide and direct this community. We pray that we might take that seriously and do to the utmost ability. And these prayers and blessings we pray for in the name of thy beloved Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Okay. Next is something new. We're now required to read a statement about electronic meetings. In accordance with Utah State Code Section 52-4-2074A, I, Leonard Call, Pleasant View City Mayor, hereby make the following declaration. That a state of national and state emergency has been declared in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and that Governor Herbert has extended the emergency declaration for Weber County issued on July 24th and extended to August 6th, and that state code has been amended to allow for the conduct of electronic meetings in an emergency without an anchor location, and that the mayor shall read or cause to be read at each electronic meeting reasons and facts behind the declaration. Therefore, Pleasant View City Council shall hold electronic meetings as provided for in state code. So, I don't know how long that will be going on, but apparently
that covers us for at least a month.
And then we'll see where we're at. Actually, the figures came out today, and I think we're in the 400s, 446 or something like that. So, too early for a trend. Next is declaration of conflicts of interest. So everybody had a chance to review the agenda, and are there any conflicts to declare? Great. Seeing none, we'll move to comments and questions for the mayor or council. Anybody on YouTube there, Bill?
I'm not showing any comments yet.
Okay. We'll move to consent items. Minutes of May 22nd, 2020, June 17th, 2020, June 23rd, 2020, and July 7th, 2020. And the bills of Pleasant View City. Okay, just a reminder, the May 22nd one was the field trip to Cycle Earth. The June 17 was the for the wells and spring. June 23rd was our regular scheduled meeting, and July 7th was the regular schedule.
Let me make a motion for all of them together.
You make a motion to approve the consent agenda, unless there's anybody with changes.
Okay, yeah, I'll make that motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
all right, motion is by Arrington, second by Bailey. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Great. Next item is a public hearing. Session of possible action to consider a rezone from RE20 residential to CP2 commercial on parcel 17-050-0019, 17-072-064. I'm assuming that's 0064, and 17-060-0003, located on 2700 North and east of 600 West. Ordinance 2020-8. Jill,
Yes, can you hear me?
before we do, I guess I need a motion to go into public hearing.
I'll make the motion to go into public hearing.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Bailey, second by Marriott. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, we're now in public hearing. Jill?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see where everything's at. All right. Come on. So as you can tell, it is located just off of 2700. Here to the east of the property is Pleasant Meadows. To the north is the White Barn. And here's 600 to kind of give you an idea of where it's at. Currently, the zone is a mix of RE20 and it looks like the PRUD, the GWN, the Gateway North, overflows into it a little bit. The general plan shows for general commercial, which if you look through, the CP2 actually works with that. The current owners are Brent Bailey. He owns, oops, wrong one, sorry. These two parcels. And the north, the church owns this larger parcel.
What church is that?
It is the
North.
New Life Northview.
Okay.
That's who owns it. So just a quick, this is their draft layout of what they're looking towards doing in that area. So these three buildings would be the churches and these would be Brent Bailey's. Again, this is just a draft layout. I have been getting calls with concerns. Most of the residents that I'm getting are from White Barn and the Pleasant Meadows. Their concerns are that they're fine with commercial, but they're worried about the height of the building, which I explained to them that's not with the rezone, but they would get notice for the site plan when that does come through, if granted the rezone. I've had concerns with that they rather have it kept residential. They don't want the change. They're worried about the traffic on 2700 North increasing. But the biggest concerns that I'm getting are current concerns with the church of noise, and so we've been working with them on that. And it meets the general plan, and that's pretty much what we were looking for down on 2700. So staff is recommending approval, and actually Planning Commission also did recommend approval as well.
Okay. Are there any members of the public?
I do have a couple of comments here. Larry Wasson says draft rendering appears to reflect inadequate parking for the Northview Church.
Okay. Well, that's not a zoning thing, that's just a concept, so we'll have to make sure we address that if we move forward with this. Any others?
Where is the entrance? Like, I know we only have so many entrances on 2700. Will you show me where that's at?
It's just a draft drawing, so it could change. That is something that they would have to get approved through UDOT. And that would be part of the site plan. But their draft, here's 2700, so it would be, and 600 would be about over here. So it would be farther away from 600. I don't know if UDOT would require it to be in the middle. But that is something that we would require as part of the site plan, that they would have to get that approval from UDOT before anything could get approved.
And Jill, a part of the site plan too, when that would come before staff, is also to connect to the parcel to the west, correct?
Yes. We highly encourage and require, especially with the limited amount of access on 2700, for joint access for other parcels as well.
One other comment has come through again from Mr. Watson. CP2 zoning indicates a church is allowed conditionally. I would only clarify that conditional uses are permitted uses, providing they can meet the conditions that are outlined in the code. So CP2 it may be a conditional use, but that doesn't mean that there are conditions we can add in excess of what's not already in the code.
Right now, isn't that just being outdoors?
Currently, the church is being met outdoors. It was written with a tent. Yes, it was a tent. Speaking with the church, the agreement was because that's what they're doing for COVID, they're putting it up late Saturday night so they can have church first thing in the morning on Sunday, and then they're taking the tent down. There is a porta potty there. So that's where they're currently doing it there, but
So that's kind of why they're getting the noise, is because they're holding it outside at the point right now.
they're holding it outside and the noise is coming from the speakers. I have talked to the church, the head person for the church. The agreement was that they would do acoustic, but his interpretation of acoustic was to take the drums out. So there's been some back and forth with the church. I've had quite a few frustrated residents. They're hoping that when a building is built, the noise will cease, but we don't know how long that'll be, because currently they're doing church outside due to COVID.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a temporary.
Just out of curiosity, are there any sort of county health department or, regulations governing what they're allowed to do outside? Is it the same thing that we have to follow with our city regulations?
Veering off the topic here of the rezone request, so.
I know, I was just curious.
I would imagine, but
Okay.
Okay, is there any other public comments?
That's all I've got on YouTube.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second that motion.
Motion by Bailey, second by Yuri, for the discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Back in a regular meeting. Any other questions for staff? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve the rezone to CP2.
Okay, ordinance 2020-8.
Yes.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
motion by Yuri, second by Bailey to approve ordinance 2020-8. All in favor, say aye.
roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call. Where is the?
Thank you.
Aye, there it is. All right, Arrington,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Marriott,
Yes.
Yuri.
Yes.
Okay, that is approved. Thanks, Brent.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brent.
Okay, next item on the agenda is a public hearing. Discussion and possible action to consider vacating the southeast side of a utility and drainage easement located on parcel 16-176-000.
Mayor, can we go back to that other one for just a second? Does that affect the west property as well? Or is that just, no, excuse me. That is just those 3 lots. Never mind.
Yeah. Just those
Okay,
three.
thank you. Sorry.
No problem. Okay, item 2, public hearing discussion, possible action, consider vacating the southeast side of a utility and drainage easement located at parcel 16-176-0008. Part of the amended plat of Skyline Estates subdivision number 4, lot 29, ordinance 2020-9. Jill, well, first off, sorry, let's go to public hearing.
I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
Second that.
Motion by Bailey, second by Arrington, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Jill.
Okay. So the location of the property that has the easement that we're looking to vacate is off of 4100 North. It's about, I would say, 985 or 983 west, 4100 North. It's this corner lot right here. So if we look at the plat, they have an easement all along the front and the sides. The easement we're looking to vacate is this back corner. It's a 10-foot easement. So the intent by it is a gentleman bought the lot wanting to build a home. And in order to be able to build a home, he would have to do a pretty hefty retaining wall to make it to the point where the ground wouldn't go downhill. So in order to do the retaining wall, we would have to vacate the easement because it would be right in the middle of the easement, and really they wouldn't be able to put any utilities or anything there. I have talked to Dominion Energy, Comcast, Pineview, Rocky Mountain Power, and CenturyLink, and also Tyson and Dana have been in communications between me and the engineer and designer, and there is no utilities in that easement. And I did get letters from approval from Dominion, Comcast, Pineview, Rocky Mountain Power. CenturyLink said they're fine to have the retaining wall there. They're just we're kind of working with them on the verbiage. If they won't give us the vacating letter, we can't do it. So what we're asking is if it could be approved for vacating the easement contingent on receiving an approval letter with the vacating easement from CenturyLink and the letter from Tyson, well, the signature on the letter from Tyson for our public works, because he's been out of town.
Any comments from the public?
No comments on this one.
Okay, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Yuri, second by Marion, to close. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any comments or questions?
Is there currently a building permit approved on that lot, or what's?
We have not issued any building permit. That is one thing we wanted to make sure. We didn't want the resident or the homeowner or anybody to spend the money to get that building permit and find out they can't do it. So that's why this is what we're doing first, to kind of help save that applicant more money in the long run.
It's been a while since I've seen that lot, but I think there was some improvements that were made to it, some excavation and stuff already up there. And I mean, not like roads or something trying to get down to the bottom of it. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's an awful difficult place to build. But
Tyson and I and Dana actually took a trip up there and met with the engineer and walked around, and yeah, it would be really difficult to build a home. So that was what they were proposing, and most of the utility companies, all of them were fine with it. Most of them said, yep, go ahead and vacate it. We have no intention. We don't mind. It's totally fine. Dana and Tyson also agreed as well.
And so all of the other, the other easement of all of the city's lines and stuff run a different direction from there. I mean, they wouldn't need to go through any of the easements on that property.
Not that back one. The back one is the only one we're asking to get vacated. They will still have the sides and that front remain. We aren't touching those. It's just that one back corner.
Any other questions?
Who was it, Jill, that didn't give us a letter of permission? Century.
CenturyLink, they said they're totally fine with it, but they won't give me the verbiage of vacating. They won't rather do an encroachment, which I've sent an email back to the engineer, and I have another woman, her name's Angela, at CenturyLink, trying to work with this engineer. She stated that he just doesn't like to do vacating, but he's more than happy to let whoever put whatever they need in the easement, because again, they said they didn't have any issues with them putting the retaining wall because they're not going to use that easement. They're not planning to have anything there. So we're working with that engineer, and if he does not want and will not give that letter saying, yes, we will let you vacate it, which Andy, who's the engineer for this, the resident, he's aware. I've CC'd him on the email. So that's why we're hoping to have it contingent on receiving that letter.
Are we comfortable?
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, are we comfortable with a letter that saying instead of vacating an easement, just having an encroachment?
No, I don't feel comfortable, but that's me. I'm not the one that makes that choice.
I'll make a motion that we vacate that, what was it? What is it? The easement, that's the word I lost. I'll make a motion that we vacate the easement as stated, contingent upon Public Works, Pleasant View City Public Works approval, as well as the letter from CenturyLink saying that they agreed to vacate.
Second that motion.
29.
Or,
29.
what's the ordinance number?
2029.
2020-9.
As stated in ordinance 2020-9.
And I'll second that motion.
Motion by Bailey, second by Yuri for the discussion. Roll call vote. Harrington,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Marion,
Yes.
Yuri.
Yes.
Mayor, can we, if we vacate that on the city's point and CenturyLink gives their verbiage, whatever they say, can we just put that back on the property owner if CenturyLink ever has a problem that they and have to worry about with CenturyLink instead of us? I don't know.
We'll issue a building permit knowing that it was not legal.
Yeah, but if they put a different verbiage than vacate, I don't know. I doubt anything's ever going to be there. So,
Yeah, we'll try to work with CenturyLink and get some, because we need to let them know this is dead in the water. It's you're gonna have to approve it or we can't issue a building permit. So
Yeah.
let's continue to work with them. Yeah, it shouldn't be allowed to hold them hostage like that. Item 3, public hearing and discussion of possible action to consider preliminary subdivision approval of Harris Hills Phase 4, a 7-lot subdivision located at approximately 1075 west, 4150 north, and entertain the motion to go into public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we go into a public hearing.
A second motion.
Motion by Harrington, second by Bailey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're in public hearing. Jill. Is there a share screen when it goes over?
think she's still muted.
Yep,
Yeah, we can't hear you. There you go. Hi,
I'm
Jill.
here. So this is Carson Jones project, Blackburn and Jones. It's Harris Hills Phase 4. If you can tell, here's 4150 north. Here's Little Mo, Pleasant Views property, and Phase 3 is down here. So Phase 4 will actually head northeast on 1075. It won't connect to 4300. That would be Phase 5. Detention basin, we have a detention basin for all Harris Hills phases, located where it is yellow outlined. The water line will continue upward from 1075. It will not connect to 4300 yet. There are 7 lots, as you can tell. The smallest lot is just barely over 20,000 square feet. All the rest are larger, which meet the RE20 requirements. The shortest frontage between the 7 is 113.13 feet, which again is meeting all the requirements. They did put a little restricted use easement, which you can see just up here, for the Little Mo Spring, which we appreciate that. Thank you, Carson. The right of way, which is the street, is 60 foot, which is exactly the standard. And it's about 404.5 feet of right of way. At the end, there will be a temporary turnaround. So it actually meets all of the requirements. Carson has been really good about correcting anything we've gotten pretty quickly. I know that most of the lots are actually spoken for already. Carson, correct me if I'm wrong.
They're all spoken for now.
He's trying to make sure things get done pretty quick, and we're working with them, and the planning commission has approved it as well.
Could you go back to attachment 1, which was the vicinity, that corner, and I can't point to it, but the little, our property?
Oh, right here?
Yeah, what, that little triangle piece, is that ours, or is that theirs?
No, that's actually Leroy Harris's property.
I can't tell with the line over line if that is a
I can actually show you, hold on.
part of the big square.
No, you're good. I can, here we go. Sorry, I'm at home and it's a little slower. So you can tell, come on, there you go. So it is, it's its own parcel.
Yeah, we're not seeing it, Jill.
Right here, can you see it now?
No. Are you showing the GeoGizmo?
Hold on, let's try this. Now, can you see it?
Nope.
There you go.
Okay. So here's the parcel. Here's ours, our big one, and there's a little triangle.
Okay. Yeah, with that overlay, you can't tell if that was.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard with the GeoGizmo because of all the lines.
Okay, and the parcel that the turnaround's going to be on, that's.
It is also.
Okay.
It is also Leroy Harris's. It'll be up here.
Okay.
Which this is all owned by Leroy Harris.
Jill, tell us about the easement at the top left of the phase 4, showing that for Little Mo. What is that? What's important about that, and why is
From
it?
what? Oh, come on. There we go. This little easement right here. We require so many feet from the well, and I believe this is just what's left that we needed, just barely within that property. So this was our way to kind of help. Oh, come on, sorry. help work with Carson, but also get what the city needs to protect our area.
So is that gonna be left open, or is that part of that property owner's property there? What do they have to fence that off at that point, or?
We'll have a fence all along here to protect our property. They will have their little corner, so that way they can have their lot. This little portion will be fine, and that's what Dana has been watching and looking at. Same with same with Tyson.
So that just no building on it, that would be the only difference?
Correct. And if you can look even closer, there's a easement that goes around this whole parcel. We don't allow any building on easements anyway, so it kind of just blends right through it.
But as far as like fences and sprinklers and stuff like that, it's fine. They just couldn't do like a shed, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So is that an agreement in title? Is that what it is when you do that? As far as the easement is recorded with a property that corner can't
Yes,
be
it will
used?
be- Correct. When this is recorded at the county, this will be part of the plat map, and it'll have a description of what it is and what the restrictions are.
Okay.
So we'll make sure that's covered in the plat before it's recorded.
Mayor?
Sorry.
Excuse me.
I just had one more question about the turnaround. I know that's going to be an impervious surface. It's not going to be asphalt, but so I'm assuming there's an agreement with Leroy Harris about that, the turnaround, since it's not, that property hasn't been obtained yet by Blackburn and Jones, but it's still Leroy Harris's. Is that right?
It's technically Leroy Harris's and Carson Jones subdivision. So phase 5 will be up there. Leroy Harris also signs the application because Carson's his is doing the work. So, and the temporary turnaround will be imperviated. It won't be asphalt because he's planning on doing phase 5 within a certain time frame. If it was outside of the time frame, we would make it be asphalt.
Okay.
Steve, you got a comment or question?
That temporary turnaround is going to be dedicated by separate instrument. So we'll just vacate the separate instrument when we do phase 5.
Phase 5.
Steve, yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say on Carson's behalf that we need to have some controversy, or he isn't part of our meeting. So
That is typically the go-to plan. Yes.
So Carson, I just wonder, what are we missing if I go ahead and make the recommendation that we approve this? Is there something that we just need to fight about? I don't.
Well,
We're just that good, Steve. We're awesome.
Well,
I
know you
can
agree,
bring up a
but Carson-
lot of things that I'm really frustrated about right now. If we want to
Carson-
open the floodgates.
Well, it has to be with this thing, Carson. It can't be your whole life history here. But
No.
I want to make sure that he's signed everything, that he's brought all the paperwork in, that he's done all his due diligence.
For
And
the
if he's not-
preliminary, he's been awesome.
Is there
If
any,
he's done that, then Mayor, I'll go ahead and make the motion.
hang on a second, we need to make a motion to close the public hearing. If there's no public.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. We're still in
Any
public.
public comments?
I have one more question on this. This will be the controversial one. I just noticed on a report that there's been unauthorized site work in the Harris Hills Phase 4. What's that been about?
Hey, it takes us so long to get stuff done in Pleasant View, so we're just prepping for farming in the future.
No, I've actually driven up there and all they've done is move dirt, grub it. They're just getting things ready. No unauthorized work has been done.
So no infrastructure,
we?
anything.
No infrastructure. They did do a survey. I did notice the survey stakes. And I even verified with Ben what some of the codes were on the survey stakes, and Carson's good. There's no issues on that aspect.
I'll make a motion to go out of public hearing.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Bailey, second by Arrington. Any further discussion?
I do
Hey,
have a question.
I'm Ann now. Awesome.
Yeah, is that road supposed to eventually, is there a plan to terminate that? A dead end, or will that be attached
Right
to
here?
2300? Yeah.
Right. So it's
Well,
a
phase
temporary
five.
turnaround. Phase 5 will eventually go in and it will extend it to 4,300.
Okay, that's kind of the master plan at this point. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
That's
we'll
all.
move out of the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any other questions for concerning this?
I did get one comment in. So it's after the public hearing, but I'll just read it in because I just got it. We are the owners of Lot 24 in Harris Hills. We will comply with any easement needed for the Little Mouse Split Spring as required. So I know that's not true. Carson can't be selling lots for
I'm
a
not.
subdivision
I'm
that hasn't
not.
been recorded.
Trust me, I am not.
So, I know that they just
Intended
misspoke.
owners, intended owners.
They're promised
That's right, Sarah.
or
It's an
whatever
intended owner.
mild commitment has been made there, but they don't own it until it's all ready to go.
That is right. Thank you for clarifying
But
that, Bill.
it's good to hear from J. Tyler Hatch 12 on YouTube that they will comply with any requirements there. So
And we're excited to have you in Pleasant View, Hatches. Welcome.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Mayor,
a motion.
Mayor, can I make a motion that we approve this, despite Carson and all his troubles generally? But he's done a wonderful job here. Thank you, Jill, for doing that. Thank you, Carson, as usual. So we'll consider the preliminary subdivision approval of Harris Hills Phase 4.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Gibson, second by Bailey. Each out there. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Great.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Carson. Item 4 is discussion of possible action to authorize the employer pickup election of the employee contribution, retirement contribution for the Tier 2 Public Safety Resolution 2020-L. Laurie.
Yeah, the URS, or the Utah Retirement Systems, they've changed how the public safety and firefighters, their benefits when they retire. It went from a 1.5% to a 2% on the number of years of service times their salary to get their final retirement benefit. And in doing that, the rates increased. We have in the past picked up people's benefits. This is one where the employee has to now pay an extra 2.27%. And then the city went from 12% to a 14% in this tier. But they're giving the cities an option if they want to pick up that employee's percentage. Right now, we only have one officer in that, that tier. So it's probably about $1,500 a year. All of our other officers are older officers, so they're in the older tiers, tier 1. So in the future, we could have all officers in tier 2, which could increase the cost up to maybe 15, 16, 17,000, just depending on what every year the rate's going to be. I did call the URS to ask them, can we put down that the city, if the city wants to pick up that amount, if we put down just that 2.27% and not choose all, which will say that we'll pick up anything in the future, which it may go up to 4%, 10%, who knows, to see if we could do that. And then if the rate does go up every year, we can do a new resolution saying we'll pick this up. She says they anticipate that the IRS will allow that, but she won't confirm that. She won't put it in writing that that's how it is, but she says she's pretty sure that we can change it to go up, but not to go down in the amount. So this is just to see if you guys want to pick up that 2.27%, or if you want to pick up everything in the future, or not.
I will get up on my soapbox right now and say that the legislature did the employees, public employees of all, the biggest disservice when they, quote, overhauled the retirement system because they were jealous of it. It wasn't that it's that fantastic of a system, but you got a few in there that, anyway, it has created so many strange and weird disparities, and I know there are people trying to fix it every year, especially amongst the tier 2 employees of all, whether it's public employees, firemen, and police officers. They're what a mess they created, and I do not know why we would make one employee pay a portion of his retirement when all the other employees has theirs fully funded. So I'm very much in favor of passing this resolution. If we have to pass another one, if it changes every year, we'll do that, whatever is necessary. But it's just, it frustrates me.
So Lori, the option, this 2.27% is just what it is
That's this year,
But if we can pass it to say all.
And that would take care of from this today to the end of
end of
Pleasant View's
term.
life,
Huh,
even if it goes up to 15% or whatever.
right.
But you won't be able to go back down, but you could, they anticipate that we can keep going up. If it changes every year, we can say, okay, next year we'll go up. But she says you'll never be able to go back down and say, we're not gonna do any of it. So,
Well, I like to suggest we go with the 2.2 and then we can revisit it. I mean, we're still fully in support. It just gives us a little more control, right?
That's true. I don't have any problem with that either. It's just like I said, I hope it gets fixed by the legislatures. But it's every year there's 20 bills that run on the retirement system, trying to tweak it.
Mayor, can I make one comment? Just,
Yeah.
I want to support our police officers and those people and our employees. I'm not saying anything about that, but we have pretty good benefit package for our public employees. When do we start to differ from the regular, Joe that's working in the private sector? I don't know. I mean, we pay their insurance, we pay everything, and I know those are all benefits, and I understand that. But at what point do we not pick up everything? I don't know what point that is. And I'm not. I hear what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we're fair with the real world. And I don't know. That's always bothered me that everything. I mean, I have to pay a lot of insurance, and I have to do all those, and then you say, why don't you get a government job? That's fine. But I don't know.
Well, and that's, I understand that, and if we want to take an approach like that in the future, then what we need to do is more like a cafeteria style plan where it's like you get X amount of money, pick the insurance you want, pick the retirement, but right now, they've created a system where everybody is, right now, it'll be one officer that is gonna have to pay 2% of his retirement, and every other officer's getting everything paid. So,
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm not arguing that point particularly.
but I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
But I mean, we are picking up everything, and I don't know. I don't know what point that we don't anymore, and I want to have a discussion with that, and this probably is not the time to do that, but there is some reality in some of these things, and I don't know. I just question that a little bit. Maybe not in this particular case, but there's a lot of I don't know. Go ahead. Back to you.
All right. Any other comments?
I'll comment on it.
Yes, Chief.
We just have the one officer that falls under this, as Laurie stated. But they changed from the tier 1 to the tier 2. It grandfathered a lot of the experienced officers in that were in the tier 1. We've been lucky to recruit experienced officers. And the one officer that is not in this, his retirement, where most officers were eligible for a 20-year, 50% retirement, the tier 2 goes to a 25-year, approximately 35% retirement. So the tier 2 retirees are getting hammered, in my opinion, by the state of Utah. And I would think if there's anything we can do, at least for this one officer for now, we should consider it. And granted, we're not going to, the officers aren't getting any younger. We're gonna start hiring more and more younger. They'll fall into the tier 2. I don't know if that's the time to address that problem then or address it now, but I personally would like to see Officer Benson, who's our canine officer, be rewarded for his efforts and fall into a similar classification as the current officers.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, thanks for that explanation.
So as I understand it, and you're kind of saying we should pass the 2 point whatever percent, and then a year from now or the next time it raises or whatever, we can do another resolution or whatever.
That's what she says. She says, I'm really pretty sure you can do that. You can increase it, but you won't be able to decrease it.
So if
I don't want to have an open end on this. I think we need to limit it year to year. I don't feel comfortable just saying we'll pay whatever, the legislatures want. So I
don't think you could do that anyway. I think you'd have to revisit it every time there would be something new.
Well, we can word it that way that it just goes to whatever will cover it. I don't want to do that. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we need to keep it, limit it to what is needed now and revisit it later.
I'd like to make a motion if there's no more discussion.
I'll second that motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt resolution 2020L, authorizing employer pickup election of employee retirement with the 2.2% of salary this year. And then look at it.
2.27.
2.27. Thank you, Laurie.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion by Arrington, second by Yuri. Resolution 2020-L with the 2.27. Roll call vote. Arrington.
Yes.
Bailey.
yes,
Gibson.
Yes.
Marriott.
Yes.
And Yuri.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimous. Item number 5, discussion and possible action to adopt the interlocal agreement between Rook County and Pleasant View to administer the CARES Act funding. Resolution 2020-M. Bill.
So you guys had already approved a few weeks ago in that special meeting, and the special meeting was to pass this agreement so that we could get that over to the county. It turns out that they wanted a resolution with that we weren't aware of at the time. And so this just brief resolution is in ratification of that agreement, and that which the mayor has already signed and which is already enforced. So that's what's in front of you tonight.
Just comment about it. If you guys know any businesses or, and that could be sole proprietors like salon owners or barbers or anybody that had a business, especially if it was shut down by order of the health department of the governor for that period of time. That this CARES Act closes Friday the 31st.
Mayor, I in my business, I've been working with Ogden City Schools, and they have put some of the CARES Act funding into their recreation projects and programs for City Rec. And I don't know if that to help fund some of the safety and sanitary needs of the rec department. I don't know if we could have any of that goes beyond helping businesses, but they're working that. So anyway, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt this resolution 2020M as stated in item number 5.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Gibson, second by Bailey. To approve resolution 2020-M. Roll call vote. Arrington.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes,
Gibson.
Yes.
Marriott.
Yes.
Yuri.
Yes.
Carries. We have a closed meeting. Bill.
Yeah, we do have just an update on an item.
Is it for, what is the stated purpose?
It's for property acquisition.
Okay. Let's come back to that then. Let's do our roundtable real quick with the public. And then I just wanted to first point out the flag behind me. That's do you remember we asked the Heritage Committee to go back and make their selection of what their program was, and this flag, which was option 1, if you remember. So they've apparently made it into a flag, and it's hanging behind me. If you can see it, it's kind of hard to see, especially kind of.
I see they kept the red dot.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Maybe they should have made it a little smaller.
Their flag.
They made it the wrong orientation as well. It needs to be turned 90 degrees. So.
I think it looks good. It looks good. They did a good job.
It's not a city flag. It's the heritage flag from our heritage committee, and we can certainly display it, especially at Founders Day and with their events that they're doing. It's a great thing. That's, in fact, Founders Day is all about our heritage. So really glad for the enthusiasm that those citizens are showing for that. Anyway, let's start where, let's see, we usually start, where do we usually start?
Ryan.
Chief.
Police department, we're staying busy. We're seeing quite the increase in vehicle burglaries and vehicle thefts. We had a video from last Sunday night of a group in a neighborhood west of 600 West off 2775 North. Car pulls out up and lets several people out. The individual we have on camera, it shows him going through a car, getting a remote, opening the garage and stealing a car. But in his hand, what disturbs me the most, while he's burglarizing this car and garage and stealing this car, he's got an automatic weapon or semi-automatic weapon with an extended clip in it. And I mean, what is he gonna do if he's confronted? I mean, what's he carrying that for to steal a car? It makes me extremely nervous, the fact that these individuals are starting to arm themselves. And of course, with all we see on the news media, the total disrespect for law enforcement. They're showing up in groups now, going through neighborhoods, grabbing, stealing everything they can. We had about 7 in one night and 1 car stolen. Now that vehicle, last night, the owner of that vehicle was called by a resident in Ogden saying they found her purse on the side of the road. And she went in to retrieve it, but called for an officer. So I accompanied her into Ogden about 7 o'clock last night. And less than a block away from where the purse was, we located the vehicle. So we did get the vehicle back. While I was waiting for CSI to respond into 4th and Madison to fingerprint this vehicle, I ran the plate of the vehicle that was in front of it and found out that was also a stolen vehicle out of Ogden. And so these groups are showing up not only in groups now to ransack garages and cars, steal cars, but they're doing it with visible extended clip semi-automatic weapons. And that is very, very disturbing, because if you hear something in your garage or carport, go investigate. What is this person's state of mind if he's carrying that weapon to steal your property? It could be severe problems. We're also seeing a disrespect, individuals flipping off the officers as they drive around the city, knowing that we can't or won't do anything about that. That's the ultimate sign to me of disrespect. So these are some of the things we're dealing with. However, we are seeing community support from a large group of the city, bringing down goodies and things for the officers. You might see the little signs and stuff on our back door. So we do have a group that supports us, and we do have groups that are buying into the hype in the news media, the problems. We show up on family fights, they're raising their hands, don't shoot, don't shoot. You know, this kind of stuff. And then they show total disrespect. They're challenging the officers, hoping to convince them into a physical altercation that can be videoed where they can sue us. And we're seeing that a lot. I've been a cop forever, and I've seen more of that in the last 2 or 3 months than my entire career. And it's a disturbing state of events we're going through. Like I say, we're investigating a lot of the we've got, well, just one vehicle that's still out stolen right now. We recovered the other one last night. The southwest city, part of the city seems to be getting hit the worst, or the area above Weaver High School. That's the two areas they seem to concentrate on for whatever reason. So we're doing some extra patrols and trying to stop about anything and everything that's moving after 1 or 2 o'clock. And if we offend a few people by doing that, so be it. I've told the guys to be kind. Hopefully they'll be understanding, but anything moving after those hours, I want checked on. So that's what we're doing. Investigations still have several outstanding sex offenses they're working on. We got our extradition taken care of. And the only other thing is the police department Dodge Charger was sold on a closed bid last week, and we got an acceptable price out of that.
When does the animal control one go up? Or whatever one they're selling there.
The vehicle that's going to replace the animal control truck is in Salt Lake right now, having equipment put in it. So hopefully we'll have that back by the end of the week, and we start making some arrangements to get that Dodge truck sold. Probably a week or 2 at the most, we hope.
How's the canine doing? I heard she was sick.
I'm sorry, say again?
How's the police dog doing?
We found out the sores in her mouth were not cancerous, but they still don't know why she's whimpering and limping. So they want to try a few things before they get into an expensive MRI. And so we're kind of playing it by the numbers on that. We don't expect to have her back, but we do want to find out what's wrong or right with her. So if she can have a quality of life, we can set her with somebody that can take care of her.
Somebody in the waiting room. Maybe somebody.
There's a group that's trying to kind of jump the gun, doing a fundraiser for a new dog for us already. So I guess there is some animal lovers out there that like our program and like the dog. And there's a September softball game scheduled along with donations to replace the dog. And we're not 100% sure we're replacing her yet, but it looks like we probably will be.
About how much do one of those dogs run? I'm just curious.
Well, if you remember the last go around, we had it donated as a puppy. We raised her from a puppy and had her trained. And the first one we did that with didn't work out, so we had to replace it at the last minute. But a pre-trained of age dog for law enforcement, the one we have found that's available in Utah is actually $9,500. And considering we got the first one for free, that's a little high, and it's not something we anticipated. So we're looking at a lot of different avenues and angles on, and it can't just be any dog. They've got to go through the motions of being a working good dog. So once we know for sure that the dog will be replaced, we'll weigh all options, see what donations and fundraisers bring in, then identify the right dog with the right temperament, and make sure we do it right the first time. And hopefully it'll be of minimal cost to the city. We hope. Or we'll just have to do away with the program, and that's something we'll have to talk about at another time.
Okay. Bill.
Right, I had a couple of things. First off, we're looking at rezoning some property along 2700 North. These are the properties that are identified in the general plan as being commercial properties. It's been suggested that staff look into reaching out to these property owners and the city taking action to rezone that property along 2700 North to commercial. We don't have applications from the property owners to do that. So this would just be the city's action on its own. And before we committed a whole lot of time and effort into that, we wanted a couple of things. First, I would like to get a consensus that that's the direction that the council would like staff to head on that. And then secondly, if we were to do that, would you prefer that we did that one property at a time? or do all of the properties at the same time. Staff is, our preference is that we do them one at a time to avoid having a big crowd of people come and either protest or speak in favor or whatever they're going to do. That way, that helps just overall crowd control that way. But yeah, that's really the concern and the question on staff's part, but we will do, of course, whatever the direction the council wants to go on that. So really, if you guys would just give me a thumbs up or down on the rezone, and then the direction you want us to go on whether we should do it all at once or in one property at a time.
Bill, in talking with Keith Priest and Julie Farr, their preference was to rezone the property proactively and all at one time. And that would be my preference as well. I understand the concerns with staff, but I think that if you're going to move forward, you need to do the whole section at one time to avoid any sort of problems or things that might arise, and instead of a series of public hearings, you know, on different dates. I would rather just move proactively with all of it, especially with John Ulibarri's presentation and stuff with assessing that property and the value and the importance of protecting our commercial base.
Anybody else?
I agree with Sarah. I think we for sure should go forward. And yes, painful as it may be, I think we should do it all at once.
And you had some.
I'm in agreement as well. I think that we should go forward, and I think we should do it all at once as well.
Okay. Dave, got an opinion?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think as long as it's everything that's already on the plan, right? We would, the general plan, right? We're not looking at anything that's not already on the general plan.
Steve? Okay.
We're looking at 9 or 10 properties there, and the adjacent property owners, while there may be some on either end and maybe in the middle, kind of to the north, we're not anticipating that there will be a whole lot of concerns or problems similar to the Brent Bailey rezone that we've seen earlier tonight.
It actually helps them. It increases the value of their property and the marketability of it too. So
yeah. So that's good direction on that. Thank you very much. Just to keep you a couple of other quick items and then a little bit of a presentation. The roadway behind Maverick that parallels 2700 North. We've been meeting with Dee Hansen, who owns property there to the front of or the south portion of the trailer park that's there on 2700. He's wanting to develop that out, and as part of that, we're looking to connect through Far West over to that area there that's behind the Maverick and the McDonald's. That is still very much a work in progress, and so more to come on that. I just wanted to let you know that we are working on something that way, collaboratively with Far West, to get that going. And then if you would look, if you are out and about and you come by City Hall, I'm pointing out the window. The new shop building is going in. They've got the steel in, and the footings are all the frame forms rather for the foundations are all in, and we're just waiting for the concrete to show up, and they'll do that in the next little bit. And then I have a little presentation. This was actually, I don't know how many of you were able to see on the league had a call yesterday afternoon, and I don't know how many of you guys were able to participate in this. The economy check-in was something that I thought was valuable, and so I thought I would share that with you guys just really quickly. I won't take the time, and I'm definitely not as knowledgeable as Juliet. So I'll just go through this really quick. The long and short of it is that we are doing well as an economy. Compared to especially compared to other states, both in the region and nationally, where our unemployment insurance range had a spike there in April, which was not unanticipated, but then it has dropped down precipitously and significantly And it's more than it was last year, you know, by quite a bit. You see that last year we were around 1,000 and now we're up closer to 5,000, but we're not anywhere near as much as other places have seen. And so this is a good positive trend. And the main thing is to notice that it's holding steady there. And so we're seeing a good trend that way. You see that job growth has returned. It dropped off again precipitously there in February, but then it's starting to jump back up to where it was, and definitely the trend there in this end of the spike is positive and encouraging. She says that the unemployment rate has doubled, but it is still the lowest in the nation. I think she missed Kentucky, which looks like it's 4.3%, but we're holding at 5.1%, which is very, very good, especially considering that other places are in the double digits. In fact, most places around us are in double digits, and so we're holding pretty good that way. The industries that have been impacted the most are probably not surprising. The thing that surprised me was the large jump here that you see in the construction. That's up 10%. So the 10% that we lost in natural resources, which is gas and oil exploration, which is probably not related to COVID necessarily, except as maybe a very ancillary benefit or problem due to people not traveling as much. The air industry has been hit and travel is just way down. So gas and oil prices continue to remain low. So that's why I think you're seeing that there, mining and gas and oil production. But construction is up 10% or nearly 10%. There are other things that have seen modest increases and really very modest decreases. And then the big one, obviously, that you would expect is there in leisure and hospitality services, because no one is going anywhere or staying anywhere. Let's see. This is the big one for cities, and you'll notice that beer tax is up, and general sales tax is also up, just a little bit of a tick. Motor fuel spending, again, as I mentioned, with that natural resources jobs being down. You're seeing an attendant drop in the motor fuel, and then the TRT, the transit room tax, obviously that's a big hit as well. So everybody's just staying home and drinking, and that's good. Notice, and I've highlighted this, Weber County, unemployment is up 700%, but that puts us kind of on the lower end of the spectrum as far as large populated counties. You know, Utah County is up 1,000%. Salt Lake is almost 1,200%. And then obviously the big tourist areas, Garfield, Grand, Summit County, those places have seen a very dramatic hit. So Weber County is actually doing pretty well, all things considered, and I'm pleased to see that. So this is what it all means. This is the main slide here, and the presumption is, and you'll see this here at the bottom, that there's no major second wave and economic shutdown. So as long as we all continue to do the things that we are supposed to do, wearing the mask, social distancing, washing hands, all the good stuff there, I really feel like we're going to be in good shape. And that we will be able to hang in there with staying the course. We're in a pretty good place as far as the city is concerned. We're not very heavily reliant on any of those industries that we've seen. The only real concern that I'm concerned about is the BNC road funds going forward, which are funded from that fuel tax. So hopefully, as things slowly creep back to normal, we'll see an attendant rise in that and be able to move forward with what we want to do that way as well. So she gets into some more philosophical ideas, and these are all just interesting slides. If you'd like, I can email you this presentation. I think it's interesting to go over. Sarah, you said you saw it too. Do you have any thoughts or comments on that?
I didn't actually, I only tuned into a portion of it. What I meant is I saw the email for it and I was going to catch all of it, but I wasn't able to. So I'm glad that you shared this with us. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, you bet. So that's pretty much it as far as that goes. And I think that's it. I'll leave it to you, Sarah and Ann, to maybe talk about the phone conversation we had earlier. So whoever wants to handle that one. So that's it.
All right, Laurie.
Well, just your financial reports are in there. They're just preliminary because we're still working on year end, but just a fast view.
Okay, Ann.
Okay, I drove by the multi-sports complex and the sod is, or the seed is looking good. Tyson, right? It's taking, it looks like it's taking, so that's good. Gravel trucks, Bill and I have been talking about this. We're just trying to see if we can not reinvent the wheel, but find out if we can work on some kind of a noise ordinance or something and just at least give some relief to those who are in the pathway. If we can just get some like muffled brakes type thing. So just, it's still a work in progress, but we're working on it. We've been calling some neighboring cities that have gravel pits and seeing what we can do about that. So we'll keep you updated, but I've been frustrated. I've called the league like 3 times. Nobody's returned my call. So Bill and I decided to go different directions. So we've kind of shifted gears today and we're figuring something out there. So we'll keep you posted.
Do they have do the other cities have noise ordinances? Have you found that or?
So I've actually sent out, since Ann and I spoke earlier, I sent out a request to the planning group to see if other communities have something in place and or what they're doing. And I haven't heard anything back yet, but that request is out there in the ether as well. So hopefully we'll get some good guidance, and if not, you know, maybe we can come up with something on our own.
Yeah, I think I just like to I don't know, throw the residents a bone that we're trying to do something, you know, to just control that noise and stuff. So I was in Layton the other day and I just saw something posted that said muffled brakes required, noise ordinance enforced. It was just on the roadway on a steep decline, you know, and I thought, you know, we need to do something like that. So I don't know, I'll get more information for you and then we'll talk about it. So today, Sarah and Bill and I all tuned in onto a classroom type thing, a CE event from the EDC of Utah. It was economic development. It was very good. Had some great suggestions for us. They have other classes coming up and they provided a schedule for us as well. But there are just some things that we can do that will like help attract businesses here. And they said they'd even come and talk to our planning commission and city council about what steps we need to take and what order we need to take them. All their services are free of charge and they had some just really good ideas. So I'd like to tune into their next meeting, and I'd also love to have them come and talk to us and just say, you know, bring your packet, tell us what we've got to do, you know, to be ready for some economic development here. So Sarah, did you want to add anything while we're talking about that?
No, absolutely. It was very informative. And then towards the end, we basically said, what's step 1, what's step 2, what's step 3, and the information that they can provide and partner with us as well as the county. And Mark, you know, there's work that needs to be done on our part with coming up with, you know, presenting a package, like somebody shows up to your city and here's your information. But then as we give that to EDC Utah and Weber County or whatever else, when companies come in looking for availability or whatever else, that's what they can give them. So we do the work on our part and partner with them and keep contact constantly with them. You know, the old adage with the squeaky wheel gets the grease. It's no different in economic development. Those who cry the loudest and beg the most and market the most will get what they need.
It kind of sounds like they're just like almost like a matchmaker service, if you will, you know? I mean, we kind of put our product out there and then they find someone who wants to fit in that. So
it was very helpful.
Yeah, so that's all I've got.
Kevin?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Sarah? Sarah?
So yes, I'm here. Sorry, I muted myself, then had to find the button. So piggybacking on what Ann said as well with the EDC Utah, that was extremely informative and a great work session about site selection. That's what this whole one was what's the word I'm looking for? Centered around site selection on how to pick out the perfect site and who do you market with and who do you work with, and it was really helpful. And with that, with the food truck giddy up that we had last night, that was well attended, even though the storm came in. Was talking to one of the food trucks there who has their restaurant commissary in Sunset, in our conversation of, hey, would you guys ever consider coming up here? And it's a Hawaiian barbecue place, and we don't have that here in Pleasant View. Not hard to find something that we don't have. And so anyway, long story short, talking with Britt Bailey on the phone today because he needed some help with connecting with Zoom. And I said, hey, Brent, would you ever, what you're doing down on 2700, I have this person who's looking for this. And he said, so just a little bit of marketing that way. And just a simple 5-minute conversation of connecting with some developers locally, with some restaurants who are possibly looking to relocate or expand, was very informative and very helpful, and is leading now to the next step. And so I just think that there's opportunities out there. And if we all do our part, with working with Planning Commission, and I don't know if Bill was going to mention that we are possibly, we're going to look at joint meetings starting in August with Planning Commission of goal setting and how can we work together and all be on the same team in our efforts to be more fluid, working together and be more consistent as a city government as a whole, and also with our goal of economic development. And rezoning the property on 2700, I think, is a great step forward, and also reaching out to other communities. So with that, it was great today, and I'm excited about the upcoming prospects, and the food trucks were awesome. We have more to come, so you guys should come, and if you have a request, let me know. We'll get that food truck here. And Allison's been great to work with, and she's awesome. And the movies in the park were great too. They were very well attended. So.
Thank you. Dave?
Yeah, I don't have anything tonight. Thanks.
Okay, Steve?
I asked Heather to, hopefully you got an email, to put together a little meeting for Tuesday to do a recap on Founder's Day. 3 o'clock on Tuesday, so look for that. I apologize. It's just July's been so busy for me, and just kind of taking a breath here for a minute. So we're a little bit late on doing that recap, but we had several things, of course, everybody knows, that I think worked really well this year. So I'd like to be able to write those down, get the thoughts, and then actually put those into next year's event. I think that has a wonderful place. Even if we get back to whatever normal turns out to be, I think we can do some of the fun things that we did this year. So anyway, look for that. I've asked Heather again to get that, make sure it's all good, and then we'll post it so that everybody can attend. It will be a Zoom meeting. I wanted to do it in person, but Heather thought that probably wasn't a good idea. So we'll do
Bummer.
Zoom Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
Okay, great.
Hey, Leonard, just one more thing. I just wanted to tell Bill, thank you for setting up that EDC Utah. We really appreciate that. That was great. And just looking forward to more of those. So thank you, Bill. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
we'll carry on. I'm excited. There's a lot of good things going on. And, in spite of the issues that we're seeing with COVID, we know that's just a hiccup, and we're going to be right back at it. And maybe this is a good time to regroup and set those goals and plans and get our priorities in place so that we can hit it hard when things do start to rebound. I think that the other thing I was going to mention along with that is that Alan Riddelsbacher has been doing this for a very long time. And he says, we really need to make sure that we're taking the long view of this. We're laying a foundation and groundwork here for great things to come in the future. And it's a great time to be in Pleasant View. He said every time he drives by Pleasant View, he looks at the fields and the things that are empty, and he thinks, man, that place is just ripe and ready to go. And that's good to hear. That's good to hear from someone that is in the position that he's in and does what he does and has his finger on that pulse. And so I'm glad to hear that, and we'll continue working.
I'm excited. It's awesome.
Bill. Mayor, hang on just one more second. Bill, I don't know if you can give any updates on the land purchase for 4300.
That's closed meeting.
And then also the CSM Rural and White, is that a closed meeting as well, or any updates on us getting that road going through?
No updates on that just yet. That's in the works. That's on their time frame though, a little bit. We got the grant that was to help put that road through up in there. And once the property changes hands, and it hasn't yet, but once it's done and closes, then we'll be able to work with Regency and get that preliminary plat finalized and get the dirt moving.
All right.
Okay. Jill, do you have anything?
Well, mine's usually, it's just pretty much summed up what I sent out in email, where all the projects are. And then on August 6th, we're going to discuss the online auto sales parking lot storage conditions for the CP1. And then there's a lot line adjustment. We're looking at August 20th to have the decision made on the online auto parking storage conditions. So that's in the works. We've got 15 outstanding complaints on the books. The church we haven't counted because I've been working with him, trying to. We've had quite a few people complaining that neighbors are dumping their grass and other green waste on each other's properties, which the city
Which is
can't.
so weird to me. That's just so weird to me.
Agreed. It is bizarre.
Hey, Jill, I have a question about the church.
Yes.
That I was gonna bring up. Are they violating anything? I mean, they're holding church and it's outdoors and there's music and it's the middle of the day. Not like they're out there at 2 a.m. shooting off
No,
or something. So what, I mean, I realize somebody's not happy with that, but is it any kind of violation or is it?
the noise is.
But is that a violation of anything?
And that's why I'm being very careful of saying, just working with him. That's why it's not on the books.
Okay.
If it gets too loud, yes, it is a violation. But I've gotten multiple videos from residents. They're in their house and you can definitely hear the church going.
Okay.
So that's why I'm trying to work with the church rather than counting it as an actual nuisance complaint and trying to get that taken care of. But
is there something in our ordinances that talks about a specific, I guess when I've read the nuisance ordinance under noise, it's anything in excess or something else, but that's interpretive.
Yes.
It's very subjective.
Yeah, that's what I mean. How do you enforce what it was two words, excess and something else, and I'm like, that depends on who you talk to.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's why I'm trying not to necessarily count it as a complaint, because again, it depends on who you talk to and how it's interpreted.
I'm sure they want to be good neighbors, so
yeah,
keep working with them on that.
Hey, Jolie, tell us a little bit about the TXOX as well. I was curious about that in your update.
So I got a phone call from an irate resident saying that someone's putting fiber in and they've ruined their sidewalk. They gave me the location. I couldn't find a permit of any kind. And we don't bill utilities to come in and do deposits or anything for them putting in their lines like Comcast or CenturyLink, because they're doing a service for the city. So I went down there and I talked to, his name's Doug Clark. He's actually very nice. So he was laying fiber down. The company is called TXOX Communications. So I actually spoke to him right as I was walking out the door this evening, and he said he couldn't find a permit. So I emailed it to him. He's going to get that taken care of. He's going to talk to Debbie about the business license. He stated he has everything go to him at his home, and he is actually in Pleasant View, but he has kind of a office for employees in North Ogden. So Debbie is working with North Ogden to see if they've got a business license there, and if he does, then he doesn't need one for Pleasant View. But if he doesn't have one for North Ogden, he'll need one for Pleasant View. So that's one thing we're working on.
Are they actually making road cuts, or are they just like tunneling underneath the?
So any type of modification to the right of way, we ask for at least notification, which the sidewalk, the park strip, and the road is all part of the right of way. What they're doing, from what I understand, is they're right in the park strip, in between the curb and the sidewalk, laying fiber, which is great. But any modification, the reason why we ask is if something does happen to the curb or the sidewalk, we have some contact information where we can say, hey, this is broke from when you came through, we need you to fix it.
A brain
So,
course.
yes, it's just for our, our records. So if we know that they're boring or doing anything to our right of way and something happens, we can go back to them and talk to them about it.
Where is that being put in, Jill?
Right now, I believe they're in Fox Hollow. I think I'd have to look at the map, but I know he stated he went through Jacobs Mill, which is also known as Westview. He's planning on going through Fox Meadows and the orchards in the future. He said hopefully within the next couple months. And then he's going to be getting a better drill because the rest of Pleasant View is in rock. So he said hopefully, he'll be able to go all the way up as much as he can.
I think there's something going on 850 West as well. Is it 85825 where the home show is? There's something going on over there too.
Yeah, they're down there as well.
Okay.
So
Is there an overall plan or anything like that, or discussion that the city has had about fiber and
he has not come to the city at all. So that was our first discussion over this, and going forward, he's going to be coming in every time, like every subdivision, and say, okay, here's my modification permit, just so you know where we're at. This is where we're going to be putting it. And he can't start until we say, yep, we reviewed it, we're okay with it, go for it.
Just for the record, TXOX has been in business in Pleasant View for like 20 years or more. So they've been here, but it's all been satellite. So
yeah,
they've not been like digging in the ground. But
It's been radio. I'm being viewed by TXOX right now.
yeah, me too.
So in our new subdivisions though, we're laying fiber, right? Any new construction area, are we putting the fiber cable in?
I know he did state that he is putting it into Rocky Meadows, which is the new subdivision that's going in. I'd have to look and check the other ones, but I'm pretty sure that they are doing those new ones.
It's kind of a standard thing now.
Nope.
There's no city-owned fiber.
No, we have to let that be private.
Yeah, I just hope that they were getting it down, because people will be frustrated if not, but you're right, it's not our deal.
Yeah.
All right, let's, anything else, Jill, before you about to say something?
Nope, that's it.
Let's go ahead and go into our closed meeting then. Entertain a motion to go into closed meeting to talk about real estate.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Bailey, second by, was that Yuri?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
You know what, it really is.
Aye.
Oh, it's a roll call, sorry. It's a roll call. Okay, Bailey,
Yes.
Arrington,
Yes.
I don't know what the alphabet is. Gibson,
Yes.
Marriott,
Yes.
Yuri,
Yes.
first two, but I got the rest of them.
One
All
of
right.
these days you won't go alphabetical.
Amy, I don't know, I'm not even sure who Amy is, but Amy, you're gonna have to lead the meeting.
Amy Farber.
So my name's actually Andy. I was invited here by Jill regarding a easement abandonment on a
Oh, we're done.
property.
That got approved.
You got approved?
Subject to some conditions.
Yeah, not forget Jill. She
Is
left.
there anything I should know about, or should I just contact Jill?
Just contact them.
Contact Jill.
Okay, will do.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we're, unless you want to stay around, it's no big deal. It's, you know, don't need to. Yeah, but you can. Yeah.
You don't want to hear about real estate? Come on.
Thanks,
Okay,
Chief.
Bill, go ahead.
We ready, Laurie?
We're still on you. We're still on YouTube, by the way.
No, we're not ready. Sorry.
It's